Hello YouTube, it is Toya Ruth here with the Divas and the Details, and I just want to come in and talk to you guys today about maximizing your credit score, how to increase it, but then how to continually strive to get more and more points, more and more strides towards having an excellent, perfect, prime credit score over the lifetime of you being a part of the borrowing and lending process as a consumer. So over the past 10 to 12 years of initially trying to increase my credit score in order to buy the home that I'm currently in, and just kind of noticing the ebbs and flows on my debt-free journey, I have noticed that optimally you can't have a situation where you don't have any credit at all, because then you don't register, and so lenders can't see whether or not you are a good steward over money that would be lent to you, because you're not on their radar at all. So you don't have a credit score. It's also not optimal to have a ton of different lines of credit with a stagnant income or a low income, and then a lot of mistakes along the way where you're not paying well. The happy zone is that you have a moderate to high number of lines of credit accounts with a nice mix of different types of credit, and that you're paying well, and that your income to the money that's lent out to you is not a huge ratio. So it is a balancing act nonetheless. So from my own experience over the past 10 to 12 years, I found that when you have a mix of installment loans, such as a mortgage, even student loans, as well as car loans, along with revolving lines of credit like credit cards, with an excellent payment history, with no huge mistakes, like no bankruptcies, no 30, 60, 90, 120 day lates, you will have a good credit score. What I mean by a good credit score, I mean 740 or better. How you fight for more and more points along the process is how you adjust the amounts owed versus the original loan balance that was lended to you, as well as dealing with your utilization of revolving lines of credit, which I'll talk about a little bit better now. And so some of you may be like, wow, 10 to 12 years, what the heck? It shouldn't take that long to increase your credit score. The reason why I said over the past 10 to 12 years is because this is a fluid, constant process. This is not a final destination, but this is a journey. As you add accounts and try to allow them to age and close accounts, all these things, because the algorithm for fabricating a credit score for you has so many different data points that you have to constantly try to make gains, stay level in order to have excellent credit over the long haul. So that's why I said it's been like over a decade process. So one thing you want to do is regularly look at your credit report. You can pull your credit report for free from annualcreditreport.com annually, but then you can also pay to pull your credit scores through other service accounts. I know my FICO allows you to pay for a membership with them, and you can pull your credit reports from all kinds of bureaus. You can do mortgage FICO scores, you can do your FICO 8, you can do your FICO 10. So you can choose to pay for that service to monitor it. But when I speak about pulling your credit report is not a FICO score. Rather, it is a list of every lending, borrowing situation that you have been a part of over your history, current accounts, as well as closed accounts that are in great standing. So closed accounts that were in good standing stay on your credit report forever to benefit you, to show that you are a great borrower. Credit accounts where you made some mistakes, you had some defaults, you had some derogatory payments, will remain on your credit report for 7 years. That is a blessing and a curse. So if you are in the midst of having an account that you did not pay well and it's early on, so you're 2 or 3 years in, you have to wait 4 to 5 years for that to go off of your credit report before you can start over again. However, if you're like in year 6 and you had a 30-day late on a mortgage, you know that it's about to fall off, you're going to get a completely clean slate. So it could be something good or something bad depending on where you are in the life cycle of that previous debt, okay? The reason why you want to pull your annual credit report as well as continue to monitor your FICO scores is because you want to make sure that these two things align. So you don't want accounts on there that are mistakes. You don't want accounts that you don't recognize at all. And you also want to make sure that things are falling off when they're supposed to. If not, you can contact the credit or the bureau and try to dispute that and get that off of your credit report. So you definitely want to make sure the two align. So, speaking about revolving credit for credit cards, this may sound very shocking, but you will notice that if you have no revolving credit and you only have installment loans, even if you have an excellent payment history, you will never really jump to that optimal like 760s, 780s, 800 plus credit score, like ever. You do need to have some revolving credit, such as credit cards. I noticed that when I got my first credit card, I think it was a Home Depot card, many moons ago. I can't even remember how old that card is. It might be 6 years old. I had an initial kind of ding. It's maybe like 3 to 5 points for the hard pull. And then I started using the card to, at the time, do some home improvement, buy appliances, things like that. And I paid it off. And then I noticed that over time, my credit score improved. I noticed when I added my next card that I maybe had a 1 to 2 point fluctuation downward from the inquiry. And then my credit score went back up, paying good over time, keeping a low utilization, like 10 points or so. But when I got my third credit card, there was a noticeable jump upward, not a ding downward, but a jump upward. Creditors like to see a good mix of credit. So when you have 0 to 2 cards, you're in a tier, 3+ cards, you're in a tier, and then 5+ cards, you kind of go to a tier, and then 10, you go to another tier. Credit Karma, which is actually not a FICO bureau, actually says that in order to get in the excellent range, you need to have 16 to 20 lines of credit. That may seem excessive, but I've noticed also with that same bureau, Credit Karma does count closed accounts in good standing in addition to open accounts. So like my accounts with Credit Karma is something like 17. So I'm like, oh, I'm in the green. I'm one of the excellent people. But those are not active accounts. I have about 7 active accounts now. And so they're counting 17 because I have 10 closed accounts in great standing that are still registered on my credit report, which is every car that I've ever owned, along with student loans, mortgages, credit cards, things like that. So it is better to be a steward, a great steward over many things than a poor steward over many things, or a poor steward over few things, or not proving that you can deal with being loaned money at all. So to not participate in having credit is a detriment to your score. It's a fact. You also want to make sure, in order to have great credit and to improve your credit score, that you're not getting a whole bunch of inquiries and showing credit-seeking behavior. So you want to kind of stay in the range of 1 to 2 inquiries in a 2-year period. Once you get an inquiry on your credit score, to me, if you're getting an actual line of credit and the inquiry is not for naught, meaning that you apply for something that you really weren't eligible for and you get denied and you take a 2 to 4 to 5 point ding, that wasn't worth it. But if you're getting an actual line of credit and your score takes a dip which won't last long, it is well worth it, because when you increase particularly revolving lines of credit, when you're using an individual particular card, the amount that you are have out, your utilization versus what is available to you, becomes a much smaller ratio. So let's say I have 2 cards. They each are $100. I spend, I have 2 cards that are each $50. And I spend $20 on one of the cards. I basically have $20 out of $100 total available credit to me. And so I am using 20% of my available credit on one particular card. I mean, on both cards, and then 40% of my available credit on one card, which is not good at all, versus if you had 2, 3, 4 cards and you had $10,000 in available credit to you and you were only charging $20 when the creditors report to the bureaus. So it is better to minimize your inquiries because they are scoreable. So the ding will be reflected in your score for about a year. After a year, they're no longer scoreable, but they are visible. And some lenders do not like seeing lots of inquiries on your credit report file. In particular, I know U.S. Bank does not like to see an inquiry from another lender within a 6-month period before they give you one of their credit products. I do have U.S. Bank card products, and I know that to be a fact. Also, Chase has a rule that they don't like to see a lot of inquiries to your credit file in a 24-month period. I think it may be like 4 or 5. After that, they're kind of on the they're more inclined to deny. They're averse to lots of inquiries. Also with mortgages, I wouldn't have a lot of inquiries on my credit report within a 6 month to 1 year period before you go to apply for a mortgage. You just want to be clean in the application process on through closing. After you close on your house and you want to get a credit product, feel free. But you have to take steps to prepare before you go to ask for new credit. And some of that preparation is having excellent utilization where of the available lines to you, you're not utilizing at the time of reporting a lot of your credit that's available to you, not having a ton of inquiries showing that you're desperate for credit, and then also your debts that are out there compared to your income. You don't want to have a huge debt to income ratio. You want to show that I'm not overextending myself whatsoever. I have found for credit card utilization for myself, I have played with utilization a lot just to see. I don't have any derogatory marks on my credit score, so the biggest swings in my credit score have been with utilization. So I was paying off my credit card by the statement date every single month at a point, and I was noticing that my credit score would go down some months or it would stay stagnant. And it was because my utilization, even though I was paying it off every single month, at the time of being reported to the bureau, if like I had a $10,000 card and I'm running maybe groceries through the card, so I'm doing $500 every 2 weeks for a family of 6, so it's like $1,000 on a $10,000 card. That's a 10% utilization. But when I started to pay down the balance prior to the reporting to the bureaus, I was noticing that like if I spent $500 every 2 weeks, but I was paying every 2 weeks the $500 off when I got paid, then only $500 of the $1,000 in a month was actually being reported. And so that was a 5% utilization. And I noticed that once you get under that 10% utilization mark, even though the creditors tell you you don't want to be using more than 30% of your available credit anytime, the really sweet spot is when you see that like I already have a great credit score, like I'm in the 720 to 740 range, but to start attacking to get above that 740 to the 760s, 780s, 800s is keeping your utilization under 10% at the time of the statement closing date, and optimally more like under 9%, because they are going to charge you interest on whatever your statement balance is, and you don't want the addition of that statement balance interest to add up and to take you to 10%. So I would say under 9%. And then if you're getting even more trying to get those points in this credit game, so to speak, under 5%. So 0 to 5% is what I've noticed over the years has been my sweet spot for having a really prime, excellent credit score. Also, I found that way back in the day when JCPenney used to have brick and mortar stores everywhere, and Sears Roebuck and Company, And even May Company had like Famous Bar, which was a department store, and there were more and more like Lord and Taylor stores like that, brick and mortar, and we weren't so like on e-commerce and things like that. They would have layaway plans, and you could go and see an item that you wanted, and you would have the checkout lady take down your information, and you would put some money down on it. And you would come pay on it like every 2 weeks, every month. And then when you paid it off completely, you could have the item. That was layaway back in the day. There is a more nuanced layaway that people don't realize that is very detrimental to your credit score. Well, not credit score. It's not detrimental to your credit score, but it is detrimental to you being able to acquire new credit. Wherein you shop online, you see a product that you want. If you don't want to pay for it in full outright, you'll see a pop-up that'll come up and it'll say Afterpay or Klarna, or it'll say Affirm, pay over time. And they say that it won't affect your credit, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's a soft pull. But creditors, when they do a deep dive into your credit file, particularly when it's the bureau that they're awarding you credit from. So like, if Affirm, I don't know this to be true, but if Affirm reports to Experian and you try to go get an American Express card, I do know this to be true. American Express is very averse to those consumer finance accounts. So you check out with Affirm. They don't make you wait until you've paid it off to get your item. They send you your item. And then whatever method you said you would use to pay Affirm, would it be your checking account or your debit card or a different credit card, they will charge you with interest until that item is paid in full. So then when you go to apply for you see all these offers, your American Express Platinum card, you will be denied. American Express does not like consumer finance accounts. And many credit card creditors do not like consumer finance accounts, as well as mortgage lenders. It is showing that you are kind of going after seeking items that you can't afford to pay for at the time of purchase when you have lots of those. So just buyer beware. This is not to bash Affirm, Afterpay, and Klarna, but if you are in the credit game and you are trying to build the amount of revolving accounts that you have, or you're seeking a mortgage, I would avoid those type of consumer finance accounts that are basically modern day layaway, that they give you the item immediately rather than giving you the item when you completely paid it off, because that is a red flag for most lenders. So if you have found this video helpful about maximizing your credit score, please comment, like, and subscribe. I'm gonna go check on my daughter because she's yelling at the boys like, where are you? Come play with me. So if they're not gonna come downstairs to play with her, I'm gonna go play with her. So happy Saturday, take care, bye-bye.